We sang that verse on the way in this morning, a big, bold hymn to kick off Bethesda Sunday, complete with the traditional figure eight procession reserved for such grand occasions. Christ is made the sure foundation, Christ the head and cornerstone. In 1925, exactly 100 years ago, the cornerstone was laid for this building, right here on the corner of South County Road and Barton Avenue. This was the third Bethesda-by-the-Sea built on this island, each church progressively larger to meet the needs of a growing congregation. And while this will presumably be the last Bethesda-by-the-Sea, our congregation continues to grow spiritually, numerically, and influentially, both on this island and in the broader community. As we take some time to look back at the past year and to gaze forward into the future, it's important to remember that everything we do, everything that we have been, and everything that we will be is built upon Jesus Christ as the chief cornerstone. We aren't the builders of any of this. Rather, we are the inheritors of a profound and vibrant and life-giving faith. Everything that we do here is a response to that faith, one that is rooted in the grace and love of Jesus. And that is what we continually seek to proclaim through word and deed, through song and sacrament here at Bethesda-by-the-Sea. And as we reflect on our common life together, my firm hope is that this is the lens we will use, the lens of the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the cornerstone of our building, yes, but even more importantly, the cornerstone of our faith. Now, even though ministry is never all about the numbers, I do find it helpful to share some positive metrics and signs of congregational health and vitality. In 2024, for instance, Easter attendance increased 26%. Christmas attendance went up 15%. The number of pledgers rose by nearly 19%. 167 parishioners increased their pledges compared with just 20 the year before. Pledged giving rose by 9%. And while you can't quantify spiritual growth, a whole lot of people attended our Alpha courses. More and more folks are participating in our spiritual and educational offerings. Our Sunday school is slowly but surely growing, all of which is an indication that people who are spiritually hungry are being fed within these walls. And that is a great joy to behold. As we continue to live into our vision of seeing Bethesda as both a spiritual oasis and a beacon of hope, I've been talking a lot this year about creating a culture of invitation and connection, about taking some intentional steps to invite others to join us on this exciting faith-filled journey at Bethesda-by-the-Sea, and encouraging one another to deepen our individual relationships with Jesus. So what does it mean to create a culture of invitation and connection? Well, in my mind, it means two things: inviting those beyond our walls to experience Jesus at Bethesda, and connecting those within our walls to serve Jesus through the ministries of Bethesda, all with the goal of connecting people to God, to one another, and to this community. Because our lives have been transformed by loving and serving Jesus in this place, we naturally want others to experience the joy of this life-changing community. And the next step for both folks who are new to the church and for longtime parishioners is getting people connected here. And the primary way we connect is by serving in at least one of the many volunteer ministries of this church. The thing is, serving in a ministry at Bethesda should be incumbent upon every parishioner, right up there with attending worship regularly and making a financial pledge to support our common life together. As I often emphasize, we are all called not just to go to church, but to be the church. And one of our primary ways that we do this is by serving together in ministry. Towards this end, I want to highlight one new ministry in particular that was initiated within the past year. Our Hospitality Guild has been seemingly everywhere these last few months, welcoming people at coffee hour, inviting people to get involved by staffing our new welcome table, helping to organize and serve at parish events, and all with a passion for connecting people to the life of this community. You could argue that these are things that we should all be doing, but the Hospitality Guild is helping us to do them with intentionality and grace, and I'm grateful for that. It is all about invitation and connection. This year also saw the parish recommit to creating a vibrant and loving Sunday school program. Our new Sunday school director, Deb Strange, came on board this summer and has injected enthusiasm and organization into one of the most important aspects of our church. You've heard me ask rhetorically, if we're not passing the faith on to the next generation, what are we even doing around here? I remain committed to building a solid spiritual foundation for our youngest parishioners. And as our program continues to grow, I encourage you to warmly welcome families with young children in worship, on our campus, and in our classrooms. Again, invitation and connection. Since the 1970s, the Church Mouse, our amazing resale shop, has had a deep impact on the broader community. In the last decade alone, sales generated by donations have allowed us to give away over $4 million to local charities. That's astounding. Over time, however, the Church Mouse was allowed to operate less as a ministry of the church and more as a separate entity. And I want to be very clear that the Church Mouse is first and foremost a vital ministry of Bethesda-by-the-Sea, one to be nurtured and celebrated and supported by church leadership, one that will be accountable to the vestry and transparent with its finances to parishioners, but also one that exists in order to encourage Bethesda's primary mission of loving and serving the Lord. While traditional forms of outreach will always be the primary recipient of Church Mouse revenue, removing the false firewall between Mouse funds and church funds will allow us to serve the community and the parish through mission and outreach efforts beyond our walls. That's invitation and connection. As we move into the new year, I'm pleased to share our new logo, which you couldn't help but notice on the front of your leaflet this morning. That's the sound of shuffling paper as everyone takes a look. But why a new logo? Because what's the one thing that people think about when they think of this church? The iconic tower and the two royal palm trees. When you see that, it's instantly recognizable as Bethesda-by-the-Sea. The design was also intended to convey who we are as a parish, an inviting congregation that seeks to balance and blend deeply held and beloved traditions with innovation. A new logo won't change the world, but it can certainly be a symbol of invitation and connection. As a parish, like any institution, we have our challenges. Physically speaking, we are dealing with a tremendous amount of deferred maintenance, structural issues that have been put off or kicked down the road. Well, here we are. We're working hard to get ahead of our aging infrastructure, and as part of this process, we recently had an outside firm conduct a capital reserve study, which is basically like an institutional home inspection. In order to be intentional about caring for our sacred spaces, it's critical to have a roadmap. But here's an example of what we're dealing with as a congregation. Look up and you'll see some lights out. 4 of them, to be precise. Our lighting is so old that they literally don't make these bulbs anymore. They're also incredibly costly and inefficient. Yes, God was able to just say, "Let there be light," and there was light. But we don't have that luxury. Believe me, I've tried. Now, we have some folks working hard on a lighting plan, but between wiring and design and fixtures and installation, this will cost at least $500,000. And waiting to address this until the system is about to fail is the very definition of deferred maintenance. Big picture-wise, the vestry and I are in the early stages of discerning a strategy to preserve and sustain both our buildings and our ministries for generations to come. With the cornerstone being laid in 1925 and the first service held in this building in 1927, the timing feels right to initiate these conversations. Stay tuned. I'm also aware that there has been a lot of transition over the past year, most of it quite positive. We have a number of new staff members, we have a number of new ministries, we have a number of new faces in this community. This means that while we are sharing and passing along some of our great parish traditions, we also have some folks who are seeing things with fresh eyes and raising questions about why we do things certain ways, all of which helps us to articulate what really matters around here, while also allowing us to reflect upon what we might improve or adapt. Now, I always feel the need to say that what won't ever change around here is Sunday morning worship. We do Sundays exceptionally well. The liturgy, the music, the flowers, the number of people who participate. Occasionally you hear a decent sermon. But Sunday morning at Bethesda is inspiring and life-giving. It certainly feeds my own soul. But it's a critical part of a living, vibrant faith to recognize that when it comes down to it, there's really only one constant. As St. Paul writes in the letter to the Hebrews, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. And it's in this spirit that as we look to the future, one thing I've identified is a need to re-examine our organizational, governance, and financial structures to help us function at the highest possible level as a parish. I'm pulling together a task force to look at how we currently operate and to make some recommendations on a path forward that will honor clarity, transparency, and efficiency as we continue to grow as an institution. Bethesda-by-the-Sea truly is a special place. I remain so inspired to serve alongside you as your rector. As I begin my third year here know just how much I love this church, how much I love all of you. God is doing an amazing thing in our midst. I certainly feel that, and I hope you do as well. Together we will continue to create a culture of invitation and connection as we collectively seek to become ever more like Jesus through the ministry of this church. May God bless us, and may God bless this parish in the days, months, and years ahead.